Okay, let's continue our base tour. I think this is kind of where things get exciting. I mean, I guess space exploration is already cool by the time that you're going into different surfaces and building different outposts and stuff like that. But this is probably where it really gets cool, and also probably one of the biggest roadblocks that you'll face. Uh, Before you can really expand outwards, because most of the other outposts in the early going, you still do have the option of going either solar power or having some sort of easy power option. But these uh, let's see, cosmic dustland, yeah, like these asteroid field bases are the first of all, it's extremely hard to actually find good knack patches. Like this one's only, I think it was 1 point something mil, but sometimes these patches are really small. They're really far away, and it becomes really annoying to try to actually uh mine them properly. Um, and like these asteroid fields have extremely low solar, like only 1%. I think you can energy beam to here for like a little bit better efficiency, and I mean I guess it's not too bad if you were to just energy beam here a little bit and then mine like some water ice. Like there's a little bit of water ice here. You know, this field doesn't even have a ton of water ice, so it's gonna be a little annoying even to set up a proper water setup like for power wise. So yeah, so I guess what I've done is just to use these extremely overpowered uh, beam receivers, and what it does is it powers this ship, and this is a decent amount of power. Like this is two 2 gigawatts of power, 2 gigawatts of power, and yeah, that's kind of enough to power a lot. And these mining operations, even if you're using like a whole bunch of uh, even if you're using a whole bunch of module miners and a bit of faster grinding, so it's still fine. Like you can just pop down a bunch of accumulators. When the ship lands here, it'll power the accumulators, and it'll power it long enough for it to load up this all these boxes. These question neck. So next actually stacks extremely poorly. So like let's go up to where I have a train station. I love space trains so much too, but see like how far these fields are. Yeah, like they stack only 10 each, and I think one of them crushes into two, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe no. But anyways, the crushed version stacks a little bit better overall. Oh, that only stacks up to 10, and it's okay. 4 gets crushed into one, crushed not quite. So yeah, so then it's better to just transport the crushed version even if you're missing some productivity modules out of it. So yeah, I just have the ship land here, and this one also has uh the uh void rocket probe, and I'll show you the triggers that I've sent. It's pretty I have it done pretty annoyingly. I should have just had a different ship, but basically, this is still my old ship setup where I have all these combinators instead of having the calculations be done outside and be much simpler. I have it launch either when these are empty or when the tech cards are empty. Um, and I think right now, what is it actually waiting for right now? It's waiting for something, but I'm not sure what. And that's okay. I think it's waiting. Oh, I think the signal more comes from this being. Oh no, no, these have to be full. this has to be empty and this has to be full for it to send the signal, and this won't get full unless this gets emptied out a little bit more, because I have these inserters not work unless this is empty. So yeah, that's what this ship does. And then I guess I'll show you the Deep Space Science 1 and 2. What's over here is considered endgame, so uh, don't look at that, pretend you didn't see that. Not that I really even understand how it works anyways. So I just have here some cooling, and then this makes antimatter from the particle stream, and this loads antimatter into a canister. You need this for one of the things. And then this also, this makes this particle, oh no, material fabricator machine. So this is a probably like the most endgame machine out of these big giant particle machines. And this one is a big, slow, unmodulable machine, and it's extremely expensive to even craft. It takes one space manufacturing, one particle collider, two these, and a bunch of modules to even craft. Only stacks one, and yeah, so you see them here. And also, this is probably the second most endgame, not quite intermediate product, and the formula is pretty advanced. It takes nanomaterials and bunch of plates, bunch of vulcanite blocks, and even these particle streams just to make, and they stack extremely poorly as well. So this is my, so then you have the tech card, one of the tech cards coming in here. This is one of the other tech cards. It outputs a bunch of junk that needs to just get filtered out and goes back into the circulation. I think this one, this is a very slow tech card. It takes one ion canister to craft each one. And then and one ion canister actually takes 1,000 ion streams. So I have all this setup built up later on that just continuously produces the ion stream. It is not enough. It still needs to import from outside, and then it gets made into these canisters here. And then eventually that gets exported into here, and then this is the last one. This is a more simpler structural data, so just a mechanical facility one. And then all four tech cards gets made into the catalog. And the unique thing about the Deep Space catalog is there's no insight. There's just significant data catalog, and then it takes these advanced neural gel, and also the one of the intermediates, in this case is the basic natrium plate. Oh, the natrium ingot is also used in some of the steps, so you do need to save some of them at just this part. And this one actually outputs some broken tech cards, and it also takes in the -273 thermal fluid instead of the -100, like the other levels. Don't look at that side. And then I think this is my level 2, and that's one of the formulation, takes antimatter and the particle stream. And this one takes nanomaterial and the nacrum plate. These are all pretty saturated. Oh, this one takes a bunch of astronomic science cards and also nac cubes. And then I think it outputs some of them back, so and also breaks some of the cards, so I just have them filtered out here. And then this last one takes entanglement data, which is from the energy science. I think I have it ended up needing quite a bit of entanglement data, so I have some extra ones producing here. And then let's go on the ground and look at how NAC is processed. I have two natrium processing setups because what I've done is, actually I'll show you the logistics of it. When it comes in from this ship, it goes into these boxes here, and then it just gets transported via my initial rocket silo back to the ground. And it'll load based on a signal from the ground like how much we have in those boxes down there. It'll start loading once this fills up. This fills up with a bunch of junk, but on the ground you'll see that it filters. Novice. So on when it lands here, NAC gets filtered out here. Any other junk gets filtered out here. Um, okay, so yeah, the NAC comes in here and then goes into these boxes. Despite them stacking really poorly, it doesn't really matter. Just have a reader signal somewhere. I think. Where does it? Yeah, so it has a reader signal here. Just broadcasts how much how much NAC I have in these the crush not quite that I have in these boxes not quite tight there, and yeah, so then it just gets brought over by these drones. This water, the weird thing about not quite uh, this powder step is that it actually produces a lot of water. The water it's not a water positive process if you take into account how much water it needs to make these vitalic acid. But since I have vitalic acid made elsewhere, then it becomes a water positive process, unfortunately. The vitalic acid, yes, so this step uses a lot of vitalic acid at a disproportionate amount. Hopefully, Arendel's actually working on like another uh, maybe like balancing this out somehow to require maybe some of the other resources, because this step really ups the amount of vitamin lang that you end up using. So that's why like one rocket shipping over these 1, 2, 3 things. I ended up having to build more rockets to ship over vulcanite, and one more even to ship over some cryonite rods. But yeah, it's like that. It uses a disproportionate amount of vitamin lang, and you need like 1, 2, and 3 rockets, and even that's not enough. I ended up having to build a ship. I'll show you this setup. This is one of my great train ship setups. It's honestly not that good. I am gonna have to say it's bad. It's I mean I don't know if it's really bad, but I can't say it's really worth it. Um, yeah, so that setup, um, just to even satisfy the amount of vitamin blank that's needed, and even then, I'm not sure that it really satisfies it. Um, so yeah, basically, there's a washing step. There outputs a little bit of stone, and then there's a powder step that outputs sand and also water using the vitalic acid. And then you have to smelt it into an ingot, which takes vulcanite blocks, and then it finally gets just processed into a plate. But then you need some of the ingots, so I have some of the ingots being collected, um, and that gets imported upwards. Uh, and then later on, I built more spaceships to transport things. Let's go back to orbit. So my idea was that instead of having the NAC come into the space and then gets transported down on a rocket, why not just because that takes a lot of rocket fuel. Uh, that it's quite slow anyways, and apparently the antimatter is pretty good. So I just built a ship that transports antimatter by the large storage tank. The ship is here. It's currently on the ground right now. So let's go down there. And it transports 3 full tanks of antimatter stream down from the from orbit to ground. And this is a very simple ship design. It's probably not even good by the standards now. It just uses a little bit of antimatter booster tank, and it just comes down very quickly and gets and outputs into the my vitamin Lang hauler ship, and then also into these. I have a total of 4 of these um, ships here. So let's look at one of them. these are identical. They just I had to experiment a lot with how these work. So there's this one, I think Citadel is the one. Citadel and Penguin and oh my god, Iron Cordon and also nope, not Brigandine. Maybe nope, not that. Pangolin. So all four of those ships are exactly the same, and their whole purpose is to fly the to this field, sands of time, fly here, and bring back crushed nacritite. And it just gets power from this one beam receiver. These are the power and resources, all these engines for flight, 3 tanks of antimatter, and it transports back one large box and one, two, three, four, five medium boxes. And and finally, I start utilizing the deep space belts for loading and unloading these. So it loads in an underground via a deep space loader. These are very fast. So it transfers also a huge tank of the sulfuric acid, and then let's go to the surface that it goes to. So the good thing about spaceships is that you could just copy and paste it onto the same. It'll just keep landing on the same clamp ID, and when the clamp ID is full, then it'll just stay in that interstellar travel zone. And when it lands, there's all these. These are the end game energy storage. These were from Crastorio 2, except I'm sure that like when Trex did the balancing, he made them a lot bigger, and also they store a crazy 5.0 gigajoules of energy. Hopefully something lands here soon because these are about to run out. So there's mining here and in all these crushing, and then there's also trains going up to 2 different patches. No, one up and one down. Let's look here. That's one of the patches. I think power's finally running out, so yeah, it'll get load. That's why the radar's not working anymore. And then yeah, there's more patches over here, and goes into these boxes here, and the radar's finally out. Hopefully a ship lands here soon, and then these get to working again. But it's fine because these 2 boxes are really full anyway, so all these boxes are full. It doesn't take a lot to fill these boxes up. I think that and then let's look at some more ships. I guess we do have a bit more time before I inevitably fall asleep. This one is my personal traveler, and sometimes I will just fly over there and take a Spidertron, and then it builds the here this it builds this, and then what you can do is fly over to one of the asteroid fields and launch some amount of the Arcosphere collectors, collect like a bunch, and then you pack it up and leave instead of settling anywhere and building a base there, because you don't really need to stay there at all the different fields and actually build a base. It doesn't take a lot of energy. It just takes like one nuclear reactor and not even, it's a reactor plus a couple of condenser turbines to power. Like the new reactor powers way more than this, but whatever. What can you do? Um, no, I built another methane ice hauler. Just because I was running so incredibly low on oil products in space, and so that's another ship. And then let's go to novice. So one thing that I wasted all, like maybe even like 7 hours or something setting up altogether, is this train hauling ship setup. I saw this on Reddit once and I became obsessed with that idea. I don't really know why. It looks really cool to have like a ship bored into the space and how you have like normal rails connecting into space rails and then also the space walls I mean the spaceship walls versus the regular walls on the outside, doors versus the spaceship doors versus regular doors. Um, so it seemed like a really cute idea in practice. I mean, in theory, in reality, I'm not sure it's great because, especially with either the Questorial 2 containers or the AAI storage containers, you have so much room in each box. Though they do add container stress, which increases the amount of energy that it takes to fly your ship, like to make your ship take off. So I guess if you were to build a ship this size and have it take off to another planet to load boxes of resources back, then you would require a lot more launch energy. I don't know how much it really compares, because then you wouldn't need a ship this size if you were just flying those like contain those storage boxes. So anyways, this one takes two trains. It does lose a little bit of streamline because I didn't know really how to make this any more rounder than it is. Making this one a little bit pointier doesn't really seem to help. I think I need to probably put this door a little bit back and then have this round off a little bit even more. But 91% streamline is fine. It doesn't really bother or anything. Just gets powered by a few solar panels. What these trains do is when they run in, they are. This has a schedule of going into the spaceship, and then what it does is it waits until the location signal changes. So this just shows a greater than zero. So when it's in flight, a equals zero. So when it's greater than zero, that means it's somewhere that's not in just flight space. And then it's here and not at the other location. So this allows you to kind of copy and paste the trains a little bit and just modify the names of the stations. Um, so basically, it goes into the spaceship, and then it goes into a wait station, and then it goes into the drop. So it goes into this wait station here. Uh, Train stop rare name, and then it goes into the drop. Um, it's not very well. I don't know why the loading's not that even, but that's okay. It's not very full anyway. It's this and then it loops all the way back down, and it sits here and it waits. Um, space. So basically, I made a dummy spaceship uranium station, so that the train limit is, and then you have to limit it to zero, so that when the spaceship is not here, and there's no station with the spaceship uranium name, then it sits here. It doesn't attempt to run off somewhere else and do something, even though I think the way some other people have it set up that they've shown me is that it doesn't really need to um, that it, that there is something else to do, whereas I don't have anything else to do with. So yeah, I guess you can see now I have just captured it in action. So the one ship took off and the next one landed, and the trains drive off. It'll unload and it'll load itself back in here. And so I think the other one's in flight, and um, let's see. I don't know. This one's called a Baden. What's the other one called? Jack Snipe, maybe? Yes, that's the one. So when it's in flight, the ships are actually just, I mean, the trains just sit here and don't do anything. And this transports some oil and bears. what I've tried to do is make the setup here as green as possible. Um, it's got a so I this is tiny. This planet has super high um, threat level, but I have it cleared up like a decent circle, and this generates like no pollution at all with these kind of cheaty mining depots. So they don't take any power, they don't generate any pollution, and then solar power to just power some of these inserters, and then when even base defense, it's all these passive non-electric using things. So there's these flame turrets using heavy oil that I brought over, plus gun turrets using this is really good immersite rifle magazine. So that's really powerful. And I just wall it off. The only downside with this is that large worms, like these behemoth worms, actually way outrange these turrets, so they can keep attacking. And when it attacks, your construction bots will try to take a repair pack and then suicide itself in the acid and blow up, and you'll see like 30 construction robots die, and you'll have to bombard these worms from your with either nukes or the iridium pyro driver from home, and it's really annoying. So yeah, the train just gets loaded up. Like you see how these two are just kind of sitting here waiting. Um, it doesn't run off in the loop. I mean, there is no loop to run off to anyways, but that's because I have this dummy station here that has a train limit of 0. So it tries to go here, but then it goes like, the destination is full. It's not, except there's already a train there, even though there isn't. It has a limit of 0, and then it just doesn't go there. It sits at this step in the circuit. All right, and let's finally go back to novice. Oops. Let's go to map view, come back here. Oops. Okay. And these are more spaceship train setups, uh, and this one tries to go pick up some more Vitamalang. And let's see, I think that's one of the trains. So this one is going to my Vitamalang planet. It's the same one. Buttercup. I think you've seen it before. So it's taking 2 empty trains, and I think this one, instead of having a bunch of solar panels, I think the flight is a little bit longer. So I have it being powered by a tank with let's see, 500 degrees steam, and it just goes to these steam turbine. I think this amount of steam is barely enough. And then this one uses antimatter engine, so it's a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient compared to using the stupid liquid rocket fuel. And let's just go take one more look at Buttercup. So at Buttercup, I have this little train loop here um, that loads the trains. I think I just use this is that's a lot of Vitamalang in all these boxes. So I just have my initial crushed Vitamalang set up. It's enough. This is more than enough to actually load it up. So the trains load up here, and then I have the steam being produced by these electric boilers. I think they're not 100% efficient. In fact, oh yeah, 90% efficient. So you cannot actually generate any energy this way. But that's fine if you're just pumping the steam into the ship. It's okay. These actually can be boiled up to the 5,000 degree steam too. I think it just takes a lot longer time, and it's just the fact that it's not very efficient. I know that people do use it anyways. They just use it to make steam battery. I mean, if even if it's not very efficient, you can make more rows of this, and it'll work. So yeah, oh, okay, the train just came in. You see it in action, and then it drives off to the pickup station. It drives off into these wait stations first. Um, I mean, if this pickup station was full, and so then there's exactly 2 of these, so then the trains will just sit here and be good. And yeah, I think I have 2 of these hauling ships working in using the same clamps as well. So yeah, so then the two ships will stand in here. I think this will wait a little bit for this tank to fill up, and then once it does, it'll leave. What else is it waiting for? Let's just wait a little bit long. Oh, maybe it's wait. Yep, it's leaving now. And boom, off it goes. It's pretty cute, but again, I don't know how much it's worth compared to comparatively with how much it actually brings in. Like these cargo wagons, they're bigger than like these medium containers, and they hold less. So these medium containers seem to hold a lot more. It might be a little more, bit more efficient, but a ship that travels that kind of distance will need a little bit more defense and size, anyways. And then, so when I have the when I have the Nacritite coming in here, it'll go into these two boxes to supply the other station if need be. Um, and then it'll also uh, come out here, and this is one of another processing setup with either level 8 or level 9 productivity modules in them. And then it'll also load the plates into this one box, and this is a dedicated hauling little tiny cute hauling ship that goes in between the orbit and ground, and it gets fueled up with the um with with the antimatter streams from here, but it also gets filled up in space also. And this is when I realized that you could start using like uh, outside signaling. So when it's on the ground, I just have a signal that says this goes into the planet orbit, and take off when this is the condition. Instead of doing some bunch of calculations, this saves a lot of space on your ship, so that you don't have to. Yeah, this allows you to make this tiny little thing, because if you think about it, if I had to do like all my stupid, find out what location it's at and then set the thing, this would need at least like another this much size just for the programming to sit on the inside. But instead, I just link up the two things to the clamp here. I mean, yeah, to the wire pass through. That information gets passed through here, and this is very cute. It has one tank, one engine, two lasers, and then basically, yeah, unloads all the neck and then flies off. Let's take one more look at it. It'll appear in like a couple seconds. And yeah, and here it is. So it'll start loading, and yes, these loads via deep space belts. Uh, yeah. And let's finally look at some more of these. I don't know if I show AI core. I think I showed off my mall anyways. Just these. I don't think I showed off the deep space belts. Very expensive belts. Takes the space transport belt and a bunch of other things to combine, and more lubricant and even cryonite rods. Yeah, very expensive structures, but they're pretty fast. They come very late game. I think some people even say they're too expensive to be usable, but I use them in a couple of situations. They're fine. And then finally this black deep space loader that initially wasn't in the Crastorio 2, but I was actually the one who asked for this, and I think someone named Lars ended up making it. He ended up programming it and adding it onto the Crastorio 2 with really minimum art. I think Rygaard says he has no artistic talent to really draw anything. Don't ask me either. I know nothing about art, so yeah. Um, Again, extremely expensive to craft, but they're really good. So I think we're gonna end off here. Warning, starting next episode will be completely late game spoiler material. Consider late game spoiler material. I think we probably got one more episode left, and then that's probably it for this series. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.